Welcome to the channel. Today we'll be installing a Recluse auto clutch in a KTM 250F. Lighting on this is going to be terrible, but the first thing you want to do is throw the bike on the side, remove any skid plates or anything like that, because we're going to be going into the clutch, of course, and all that stuff will usually impede what you're doing in here. So the second thing I like to do is remove the rear brake bolt. That'll give the lever freedom to get out of the way. And then we'll just start popping the clutch cover off. And on this particular clutch, the cover is replaced with the higher volume dog bowl from Recluse. Alright, now we remove the stock clutch bolts. Alright, remove the pressure plate. This won't be used anymore with this clutch. And remove the stock clutch pack, which we will be reusing the clutch plates, not the steel plates. Let's remove all the locating pins. We're going to reuse some of these locating pins. Next we're going to remove the throw out. And now we have to take off the clutch hub. So we're going to need a screwdriver to bend these tabs down, because we're going to take the hub off and we're going to put a new hub on there that's supplied by Recluse. So, pound and bend these tabs down. So I got way ahead of myself off camera. I realized I didn't have an impact for the clutch hub. So I had to go off camera and figure out a way to lock up the rear wheels so that I could get the nut off. And if you ever run into that situation, because I have no other option and I'm running late, this is kind of a rush job. I had to put the brake bolt back in and wedge the rear brake. Then I had to wedge a cheater bar in the swing arm and put a rag in the sprocket, because everything was compressing, so not ideal. Normally you could put the bike in gear and lock the brake up a little bit and hit it with an impact and it would spin right off, but I don't have an impact, so I had to take it off manually with a wrench. So anyway, we've got our nut off. We'll take our old flat washer off. We're going to replace this piece, ideally anyway. And off comes the hub, and the clutch basket is right under that. And because this is a multi-part project, I'm going to install a new oil pump idler gear in this bike. So there's an updated part number for these pre-2019 250Fs, and it's this idler gear right here for the oil pump. They superseded it and made it out of a better material. So I took the water pump off. I'm doing a lot of this off camera because I'm in a hurry. But you take the water pump off, drain it, and then we're gonna pull the case off. And I just wanted to show you guys inside the motor, or engine I should say. I gotta take the brake pedal off, which I just did, and that's what it looks like inside there. And this idler gear is the one I'm gonna change out, which probably means I gotta take this off. Here I get the new oil pump idler in, and yes indeed I did have to take this off. Took that off, pulled the gear, put the idler gear on, put the snap ring back on, got a new gasket, and we're getting ready to put it back together and put the Recluse in. Alright, so if you took yours apart all the way like I did, you're going to want to put the basket back in, and you're going to want to mesh it up with the oil pump drive gear, so it won't fit all the way down in there unless you do that. So make sure you get it all lined up and back in place, and the bearings and everything are correct. Next thing we install is the Recluse supplied hub. So we're going to make sure that this Oem thrust washer comes off the old basket, and we're going to stick it on there, and then we're going to put the new hub on, just like that. All right, next step, we got the tab washer. supplied by Recluse. Stick that on, and we put on the hub nut, and I got just a little bit of blue Loctite on there, and we're going to torque that down to 50 pounds. Now we're going to bend the tab washers up around the bolt or nut. There we go. Alright, so now we have the nut installed and everything's good there. We're going to reinstall 6 of the locating pins, and be very, very careful with these things. They're really easy to drop down into the engine, and you're going to want to have a little baby magnet with you to fish those out. It's a total pain in the butt, so make sure that these guys don't jump out of their holes, and locate those in there like that. And then we're gonna install a drive plate first. So the little shark fin looking thing goes forward, and we'll install right like that. And then we follow that with a friction plate, in this case the Oem Friction Plates. And you want to make sure you get them in the right grooves. You don't want them in the shallow grooves, you want them in the deep grooves. So drop one of those on, something like that. And we just chase it all the way up with all the remaining plates. Alright, so we end the stack on a drive plate. So it's also important to note on this particular bike, which is a 250XC, we're only using 6 of the original friction discs. So there's 7 in the stock basket, but we're only reusing 6 of them. And we've got the Recluse drive plates Recluse drive plates in there. And then we end the pack with our EXP disc, which is the auto part of the clutch. And so we drop that in just like it's a friction disc, like that. So drop the throw out in. Put a little pressure on there. Reinstall the pressure plate with the liner disc on it. That. So Recluse supplies the clutch springs for you, and then they have their own special collars that you run in the clutch. So got their own bolts too. So we're going to stick all those into place. So don't use the OEM springs, use the provided springs, of course. And we drop all those in, and then button them down. I think it's probably a 5mm or something. We'll find out here in a real second. All right, so 5mm. And we're gonna button these down. It's gonna be 9 pounds. And then we'll go through and hand check them. So we're going to put on the new Recluse cover now. I opted to use a brand new O-ring, but because it is an O-ring, you can pull it off your original one. Shouldn't be a problem. I've done original ones before. And just line the cover up and install the bolts in the proper places. So now we're going to switch over to the slave cylinder side. I already have this fancy Recluse case saver thing on mine, so I bought it in anticipation of putting a Recluse into this bike. So now that we got the Recluse in it, we've got this handy dandy cover to protect our fancy slave, and underneath this little plastic cap is where we'll find the adjustment. This just helps keep some of the bud and stuff out of there. So here we are at the slave, and we have to fill this cavity up so it doesn't have any air bubbles in it. So what we first do is bottom this all the way out, and then we open it back up, and that gives us access to the whole inner chamber. And then we fill this up with fluid, and then we screw it in, and it blows all the bubbles out. And now we open it back up again. Fill it some more. Get all the bubbles out. And just keep doing this until no bubbles come out anymore. Alright, we get the OEM slave cylinder off. Remove the banjo here. Set the old slave to the side. Put a couple new crush washers on. Recluse supplies these. And we're gonna screw in the new Recluse slave. Shouldn't have much fluid spill. Yeah, we won't be reusing this diaphragm. We're just using what Recluse supplies. So we're going to put a new paper gasket on there now, and then button this all up with our slave guard. Alright, from here you're just going to bleed the system out. There's not very much air in it, but you're going to bleed it out just like a set of brakes. It's going to fill fluid at the top and pump it out the bottom, so all the air finishes bleeding out of the system. Okay, so this is the last part of the video. We're going to screw the adjuster all the way in until it slightly bottoms out. Once it bottoms out, this is how we find our starting point. Wherever it bottoms out, we do 1 full turn plus 5 ticks, and that's our starting free peg gain. We adjust it accordingly. That's not going to be the last setting. Alright guys, that's it. Installing a Recluse clutch into a KTM 250F. That's all there is to it. This isn't meant to be a full entire guide, so make sure you read your owner's manual for all the correct adjustment and break-in. But I just wanted to show you it's pretty easy to do, and you can do it at home if you want. You don't have to have the shop do it. But just make sure you take your time and get everything done in a correct manner, and double check everything. Thanks for watching. Take care.